Well, a very good afternoon to you all from Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. A couple of feet past the exit of turn 12 is my home base here for the next 2 hours or so as we bring you live qualifying coverage, bonus coverage from the 2025 Lanier Endurance SuperPrix. This is the World Racing League on DriversEye Live. My name is Brendan Kazmarek. I'm joined by Jordan Worth, who is on the ones and the twos, as he is from his remote studio. Layla Kazmarek with me up here in the booth. If you're following along with social media, at World Racing League on Instagram and over on Facebook as well. Of course, we're live on the World Racing League YouTube channel, as is the case every weekend. And for the first time here in a couple of race weekends, it's a spectator weekend. Hello to all of you trackside as well, as we kick off competitive running for round 6 of the 2025 World Racing League National Championship season. It's also round 3 of the Eastern Championship season. And as our old friend Bob Varsha says, before you can race, first you must qualify. And new in 2025, that's exactly what we do for the next 30 minutes or so. Grand Touring cars, GTO and GTU, take to the track first for 30 minutes of running. Get the general production cars out of the way. They'll qualify at 2:20 this afternoon, as I'm sure the man Dave Miller has reminded you here from up in the booth during the morning practice and HPDE sessions. Cars are now working their first flying laps of this 2.54-mile circuit just in Brazelton, Georgia, about an hour north of the Atlanta metro area. One of the great racetracks in North America, and for my money at least, the best, as good as it gets for multi-class sports car and endurance racing. It's not quite petite, but we're not so far away here in the World Racing League. GT4 cars make up the majority of the GTO class. Sebeco NP01s, little prototypes you see trackside with the light bar across the roof, make up the GTU category for cars right around the 2,200 pound and under mark. 9-to-1 power-to-weight ratio on all of these cars. And they'll be doing lap times here in the qualifying session right around a minute 30 as the first flying laps now post to live timing over on redmist.racing or on Race Monitor. Stratus number 58 immediately goes to the top in GTU and overall. 58, 59, and 60. 3 Stratus cars right in a row. Pull time, provisionally at least, 129.749. AOA Racing number 74 goes straight to provisional pole in GTO, followed by the GTR 99 BMW M4. So that's a pair of BMWs at the top of the running order in the GTO category. Those are your, like we said, your GT4, primarily GT4 cars. With the AE Victory Racing number 119 Toyota Supra, 3rd in class and 8th overall. As we hop on board briefly, the Rob Walker Racing Kingpin Racing Toyota Supra. It's the number 77 down at the turn 7 area of the track, the south end of Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. Good to see the Cargo Shorts guys back with the World Racing League after running a couple of IMSA and Pilot Challenge races throughout the course of 2025, picking up a podium back at Daytona on debut. Really good stuff, and Rob and the gang providing us an onboard camera to watch from this weekend is the number 10 Round 3 Racing Sebeco NP01 zips past in the braking zone down at turns 10 and 10A. Looks like the mode here for the GTU cars at the very least has been to go get the quick flyer right out of the box. Certainly the first 3 Stratus cars, and then to back off a little bit, maybe cool the tires back down, although they do take a minute to come up to temp. Straight back out into the 133s, 136s. Of course, we're dealing with traffic here as well. New GTO pole sitter is the tube-frame Camaro, number 843 of Low Country Motorsports. Drops a 131.227. Now, that's not quite the quickest GTO time of the weekend. Best we've seen thus far is down in the mid 1-minute 30s from the Round 3 Racing Porsche. That's the Trimtech sponsored number 70. But nevertheless, an incredible lap there for that 843, which is not exactly where we typically see that car. Really, really good time there, straight out of the box, as we said. We're only a handful of minutes into GTO and GTU qualifying, and already a little bit of drama there in GTO. AOA Racing number 74 slips back to second. That round 3 Porsche we just talked about there in third, and that'll put the 172 from TLM USA, the red and teal BMW in P4. Again, live timing for this session will be redmist.racing. It's a follow-on from the old Race Hero app. Brian Griggs in development of that, kind enough to give us access here on DriversEye Live. Great work working with Brian. It's really, really slick timing output that interfaces with all of the resources that the World Racing League provides to teams, drivers, spectators, and fans alike. Or Race Monitor if you're looking for a phone or tablet, of course. Number 70 comes through and goes to the provisional pole in GTU. 130.834 is a little bit more like it, and disposes of that number 843 Low Country Motorsports Camaro by something like, do the math, Brendan, 0.4 of a second. Quick times this morning in practice as well from the ACP Tangerine Associates BMWs. Number 2 comes by start finish, is down in 14th overall at the moment. 132.007 is the fastest time for that car. Now, if you're just joining the World Racing League after some time away, or you were here last year but haven't followed any of our live streams over on YouTube, it is worth noting, this is the first time we've done standalone qualifying here. Typically, qualifying would be set by the best times throughout the course of Friday in any of the official race practice sessions. And there was a kind of a mix of tire strategies, fuel strategies, trying to use the conditions, the weather conditions to your advantage, and setting times when it was cool and comfortable. Here, we're all dealing with exactly the same track conditions, the same ambient conditions. Best you can do is to whack on a set of new tires, these 200 treadwear nominally grooved tires, and give it your best shot. Some won't even bother. They'll just go out, set a couple of bankers, use it in a practice session, and come back in, especially if you're not starting your hot shoe in the car, as it were. And in some cases, it can be used to scrub a set of tires, to cycle through a couple of drivers, give a few of your drivers a stab at a qualifying effort, rather than just sending the pro or the hot shoe out there to give it a go. Some names you might be familiar with, speaking of pros, down in GTU, arguably the most recognizable, in the number 909 Automatic Racing Sebeco NP01, Charles Espenlaub, which is a name I haven't called in quite some time. It's great to see Charles in the World Racing League once again. I think before, but he had to tab a co-driver for this weekend and went local down here in the Atlanta area. And Ryan Eversley will be making his World Racing League debut. I'm sure we'll hear from him later in the weekend as well. AE Victory Racing, which was the story of the Paul Revere 14-hour, our last event back at the Daytona International Speedway, led over 100 laps throughout the day before some late contact took it out of contention for not just a podium, but a race win. Erin Fogel stepping away from the driving duties there, and Ashley Freiberg will be making her World Racing League debut this weekend in that Supra as well. Laura Hayes stepping out of the car this weekend into a more managerial, developmental, engineering type role that we think was a big catalyst towards that car being so quick back at Daytona. Expect to see good things out of it. This weekend, it's a white and purple with some additional accents. Toyota Supra down in P10 in GTO at the moment. 132.202 is the time out of that Supra. Provisional pole reset again. It's Low Country Motorsports in GTO. Number 843, 130.506. So displaces the 1:30.8 that we got out of the round 3 Porsche, which, by the way, had set the time and then come straight into the pit lane. So interesting to see whether they'll go back out, cool the tires down, and give it another go, or whether that squad is more likely to rest on that 1:30.8 time and come give it the start line tomorrow morning. 18 minutes now remain in GTO and GTU qualifying. On board with the number 77 Cargo Shorts Racing Kingpin Toyota Supra. Now through the S's. Turn 5, climb the curb on the exit. Line crest of the hill. And down into the braking zone at turn number 6. Fantastic vision from around, as we've said, what I think is the best track in North America. Certainly my favorite to come to. We're a little cooler this weekend, but this is pretty much what we asked for, hosting our Lanier Endurance SuperPrix here in July. Altogether better conditions than we had back in 2024. If you were with us here, you might remember Sunday was pretty much shut down from the quiet hours onwards before we got back to racing action about 45 minutes before the scheduled end of the race, before it absolutely opened up from the heavens, and we ended up with, I think, what could calmly be called, or kindly be called, a washout. The race was with about 15 or 20 minutes remaining. Pretty dramatic vision from around Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. But the forecast for this, despite being on the warm and humid side, does look very, very good, very dry. And, yeah, looking forward to a great weekend of racing action with spectators hopefully filling in around the banks of this 2.5-mile layout. No new times in GTO at the East. Still Low Country Motorsports from round 3 racing. AOA Racing number 74. That's the Rue Helmets BMW M4 in third at the moment, alongside the TLM USA number 172 BMW M4. Random Vandals number 28 in P5 at the moment, alongside the Kingpin Racing number 77, who, after I would say a relatively slow or calm start to the session, now up into P6. ACP Tangerine Associates P7 alongside Kingpin Racing, the number 11 in P8 as we inch towards the midway point of the Grand Touring session. Running the top 10 is the 89 from 89X Motorsports and the 119 AE Victory Racing Supra. GTR 99 in P11 alongside the number 123 of NFC Motorsports. Mercedes AMG GT4. Great to see NFC Motorsports back. Last year's GTO Championship winners went right down to the wire at the final event of the season at Circuit of the Americas before they stepped away to go do some racing in other series on slick tires. Budgets. But nice to see them back here and competing in the World Racing League at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. Expect to see them competitive right the way through the rest of the weekend. Camburn Performance Engineering, number 178, P13. P14 is the 52 of ACP Tangerine Associates, another BMW M4, and the 669 of Rapscallion in P15. Ooh, awkward moment down there at turn 7. I think that was the number 2 there, who was nominally anyway trying to stay out of the way to driver's right before cutting back to the racing line. Really awkward stuff down there going into this. That wasn't the 2, because there is the 2. Well, wasn't that number 2? But anyway, no, didn't look like they made any contact. Really heads up stuff from the 77 down there at the south end of the circuit, and well recovered from both. 77 will set out. Nope. GTU, let's take a quick look at the smaller, lighter, but actually altogether faster category out of these Grand Touring machines. Stratus number 58 from Stratus number 59. Teammates on the provisional front row with a pole time of 129.434. Heraflight Racing in an adjusted livery this weekend. A little bit of black accenting along the fairly pale orange Sebeco NP01. P3 with a 129.9. Stratus number 60 goes P4 for the moment. To provisionally start alongside that at a 130.452. Automatic Racing 908 alongside the number 1 from round 3 racing. Roberts Motorsports number 109 in P7, Automatic 909 in P8, and the round 3 racing number 10. Shotgun on the GTU field. 131.222 is it's a good time overall in these Grand Touring cars, but of these GTU cars around a track like Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta that really rewards high-speed apexes and cornering, the downforce of those NP01s and the relatively light weight allows them to carry a lot of speed when the track is clear. Makes it a little bit tougher in traffic, not having the punch out of the slow corners to get by other cars down the back straight, for example, or down the front straight into turn 1. It really got to kind of send it on the brakes to make sure you're clear by the S's or turn 10 and turn 12, where you could really be held up. And in these types of sessions allows them to really flourish. That 129.434 is a quick time. Don't know what last year pole time was from 2024, but it's a bit of a tough direct comparison given that we weren't qualifying necessarily in the heat of the day. Pole times are typically set first thing in the morning, or more typically set first thing in the morning, or late in the afternoon in the last session. 11 minutes, 40-ish seconds remaining on the clock in the first of 2 qualifying sessions. Thanks for joining us on the World Racing League YouTube or at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. One more qualifying session to come. That'll be at 2:20 this afternoon for the GP1 and GP2 machines. Those are your production-based cars. A lot of BMWs, a couple of Toyota GT86s, BRZs, Mazda MX-5s, you name it. It's a really compelling class of cars. GP1 this weekend. Biggest field, or biggest group in the field, 20 cars on the entry list. I think we're going to see a fair fewer than that when we get running with a little bit of drama throughout the early part of today. More on that later. GP2 in a really compelling line at the moment, especially for the Eastern Region Championship. More on that to come as well. But check out the point standings we posted on Wednesday at World Racing League on Instagram, because I think that's going to drive a lot of our talking points on Saturday and Sunday as we hit the midpoint of the 2025 Eastern Region Championship and the National Championship. New second place car in GTO is the number 2 ACP Tangerine Associates BMW 130.712. Just over a tenth of a second clear of the round 3 racing number 70 Porsche. So provisionally alongside that Chevy Camaro number 843. I can't get over the performance out of that number 843. That's typically a 10th or 12th place car in the World Racing League. I don't know if it's just well suited to Road Atlanta here, or they found something in setup and engineering, much like that AE Victory Racing Super did back at Daytona. Sometimes it just takes putting the right people in the right places to make everything click. And click it has done. Of course, that car does have prowess in the World Racing League. Those tube frame chassis really competitive in the hands of Austin Dillon Motorsports back in the day. 2023 was the last time I think we saw them down at the championship finale at Circuit of the Americas every December, but picking up a handful of race wins along the way with a squad full of pro drivers. Get to the WRL regulars. So we know the car is capable, just hasn't really found the ultimate pace yet until literally this afternoon in the hands of Low Country Motorsports in the 843. Thanks for joining us in the chat. Kit is new to watching racing, but was told to try WRL. Thanks for joining us, Kit. Difference between the red and the orange cars. You see it on the timing ticker down the left. GTO are the GT4 type machine. These are your road-based supercars built out into homologated race cars on the FIA side, which is the governing body of international motorsports. We don't operate under FIA sanction as such here in the World Racing League. There's no requirement to use the GT4 performance balancing metric that allows all of these different machines to operate in the same windows. But because they're all roughly designed to operate the same way on similar tires, with only minor modifications, here in the World Racing League we use power to weight numbers with some modifiers thrown in there to keep things even. 9-to-1 pounds to horsepower, so call it around 3,200 pounds, and I picked a bad number there. Call it around 3,600 pounds, 400 horsepower for the heaviest machines, and then down in multiples from there. It helps keep things even without using all kinds of complicated performance balancing like they get on the FIA side. Of course, we've got the Camaro we were just talking about as well. Really run whatever you want at 9-to-1 and have it be competitive. The GTU cars, we said lighter weight, maxed out right around 2,200 pounds. These Sebeco NPO1s only make about 190 horsepower, so half the horsepower or so of the GTO cars, but still going quicker, at least here at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, as quickly at places like Tone or Road America, where it benefits the power of those GTO cars, but obviously the downforce of those NPO1s doing a lot of work around a place like this. And an expanded GTU field this year. You might remember last year, only a handful of cars, 4 or 5 in GTU. This weekend we're up to 9. If I do my counting right. I don't even have to take my shoes off to count that high. But it's been a really compelling part of 2025 to have this extended GTU grid. All these Sebeco NPO1s. I heard there's rumors of a Volkswagen Fun Cup entry coming in GTU at some point, but we'll have to talk a little bit more about that this weekend. I hear there's somebody in the paddock who was recently involved in a 25-hour race in those VW Fun Cup cars. We didn't even make it to Saturday, folks. We're already leaning into the bits. 6 minutes on the clock. If you're planning on centering your end of racing around World Racing League, racing to start tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Roll-off will be right around 8:50. There'll be an expanded coverage day. Right now, as we said, something of a bonus coverage for 2025. I'm carrying this solo at the moment, but I'll be joined by Ryan West and JT Tammy, along with Jordan Worth, of course, on production throughout Saturday and Sunday. At World Racing League, we'll fill in the gaps on the ats. Over on social media, thanks to Layla Kazmarek up here in the booth as well. 8:30 is the start time on Sunday, and remember, got the locally mandated quiet hours between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. on Sunday. So we'll get roughly a stint to a stint and a half in on Sunday morning before we go quiet and to a red flag for 2 hours. We'll pick things back up at noon and run till 5:30. With 7 hours of racing action. It'd be one of the later finishes we've had in WRL competition. But 58 cars, better than petite, my friends. It is arguably the most crowded Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta will be in 2025. Near capacity grid, 60 cars is the max, which we had up until just the other day, actually. And all the things we love about multi-class endurance sports car racing on display at the Lanier Endurance SuperPrix. That name, by the way, a throwback to roughly 1993, where the SuperPrix weekend here at Road Atlanta was put on by Trans Am series. Didn't want to go anywhere near any of the petite names, but we do have something of a petite this weekend with the 7 and 8 hour races respectively. And an event that I think you could make a case is one of the best, if not the best, modern original sports car endurance race, running the first back just in 1998, not so many years ago, 27 years as of this fall. And just about everyone is banger. Beautiful fall days here in North Georgia. And yeah, everything that event is about, we get to replicate here in the World Racing League with more traffic. I mean, not cars quite so quick, but all prototype GT and production racing all day long. And thrilled to be able to share it with you if you're trackside, of course, on the YouTube channel as well. JT Tammy's in the chat. He'll be commentating with us tomorrow. I think he's to distract himself from a bit of work. Best part of the end of last year's race, watching the camera battery try to float away. It was nearly a disaster. Nearly a disaster. It did turn into memes as well, which appreciate it. Over on @DriversEye Live on Instagram. The qualifying session for Grand Touring Cars begins to wind down now. 2.5 minutes, so just about 1 to 2 flyers left in it. Out of the last corner, you will see a black and green Mercedes. Oh, thanks, Jordan. Mercedes AMG GT4. There it is, just off in the distance. That is not what you might expect out of the number 40, Off-Leash Motorsports. Not running the Ligier this weekend. I believe I'm right in saying, did they have the incident back at Daytona? Was that the 669 from Rapscallion? Anyway, lost one of the Ligiers back at the last round before we ever got to racing on Saturday morning. From off-leash, pivoting slightly to a GT4, a more GT4 friendly platform. A car that was really quick back at Daytona, nearly won the 14-hour last time out, and picked up more than a couple of race wins during 2004 at the hands of NFC Motorsports. Good to see Off-Leash Motorsports back with us. Would love to be able to see that car, or more of the Ligier JSP4s. But times change. Wasn't so very long ago we had no GT4 cars in WRL, and now filled with the most recent generation of Aston Martins, BMWs, Mercedes AMGs, of course Porsche Cup number 70. New 4th place car in GTU with under 60 seconds remaining on the clock is the Roberts Motorsports number 109. Beautiful maroon, kind of a flat maroon colored Sebeco NP01. Really, really quick car as well. Certainly over a couple of laps. We can sustain that pace the way we see out of the Stratus cars, the automatic cars as well, the 908 and 909. Kind of making a statement over these first couple of races with consistency more than outright speed, but it always pays dividends at the end of a full day of racing, as is always the case in endurance racing, of course. Next car through start-finish should see the checkered. Zeros on the clock. I'm just off to the right side of this camera shot, looking down the hill, back up towards the Fox Factory Bridge. We'll await the arrival of be the 109 we just talked about from Roberts Motorsports. Eyes on live timing. Do they improve? 138.6, so no. Comes through and goes to GTU pole at the checkered flag. Overall and provisional pole sitter changes, and with the 58 in the pit lane, that should just about do it. At the very front of the field, 129.399, so less than half a tenth of a second will separate the Stratus team cars on the front row for Saturday's Endurance SuperPrix. Tremendous lap. maybe just taking a few laps to cool things down and then send it one more time at the checkered flag that trimmed, a gold and black trimmed number 59 steals it right at the checkered. Tremendous stuff from the Parastratus cars at the front. I think, do we have any GTO cars left out on circuit? Just the 28 from Random Vandals, P6 at the moment. Last lap was not fully representative. Wait for these cars to come down the hill. Here is the 28. We'll get one more time in. A little shallow on the way into the corner. Flashes through on the exit. 133.731, so no improvement. And in fact, by the end of the session was 2 seconds slower than the quickest time set at the beginning. Now, that's not all fall off in tires, but as the tire temps climb and climb and climb, it can go away pretty quickly. The Roberts Racing number 109 does not improve, 130.781, so a good effort. But we'll start outside of the second row provisionally in GTU. All cars have seen the checkered now. In our first of 2 qualifying sessions for the Lanier Endurance SuperPrix weekend at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. I'll give you a quick rundown and then step aside for the HPDE sessions and take things over up here in the broadcast area, guide you through a session that you too could take part in. The HPDE sessions are exactly what they sound like, high-performance driver experience or driver education. Yes, some of the race cars use them as additional practice sessions, but they are open to public purchase. Check out the World Racing League website, racewrl.com, for more information there. And certainly stay trackside. See more of those cars out on circuit. In the meantime, let's go through your running order. GTU, Stratus 59 alongside Stratus 58. Front row in GTU will likely be on the front of the field well overall. Heraflight Racing number 247 alongside the 109 of Roberts Motorsports on the second row. Stratus 60 and the number 1 of Round 3 Racing on the third row. P7 will be the 908 of Automatic Racing alongside the number 10. That's the red Porsche-colored NP01. Rounding out the fourth row. And then P9 in GTU, last car in the field, will be the 909 of Automatic Racing. In GTO, Low Country Motorsports does hang on to claim that class pole. Chevrolet Camaro 130.506 alongside the number 2 BMW of ACP Tangerine Associates 130.712. A tenth further back on the second row will be the Round 3 Racing number 70 Trimtech sponsored Porsche alongside the Rue Helmets number 74 AOA Racing BMW M4. Another M4 to start on the inside of row number 3, excuse me. It's TLM USA alongside the older gen BMW M4. Random Vandals 28 outside of row 3. Row 4 be the 52 ACP Tangerine Associates BMW M4 and the 77 of Pin Racing. That's the Cargo Shorts Racing Toyota Supra, nominally a BMW, I guess. In P8, second Kingpin car directly behind will be the number 11 and the 89X Motorsports Aston Martin. To round out the top 10, rapid fire down the rest of the list will be the AE Victory Racing Toyota Supra, number 119, 123 of NFC Motorsports, excuse me. Mercedes to start in P12, P13, GTR 99, P14, the 178 Cambered Performance Engineering Jetta G55, the off-leash Motorsports Mercedes, number 40 in P15, and Rapscallion number 669 shotgun on the GTO field in P16. That'll do it for GTU qualifying here on DriversEye Live. The World Racing League will step aside for just a couple of moments here. We'll run another HPDE session before we get the larger of the 2 qualifying groups coming up, including GP1 with something like 20 cars. Really, really compelling stuff. Looking forward to being able to call that one at 2:20 p.m. Eastern Time. Until then, we'll step aside here. I'm Brendan Kazmarek. Jordan Worth is with me on production. Layla Kazmarek on the at DriversEye Live at World Racing League. Give us a like and a follow there, and we'll see you at 2:20, just over 45 minutes from now. Till then, take care. Welcome back to Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. Qualifying day for the Lanier Endurance SuperPrix. 15 hours of racing action to come this weekend, but of course, before you can race, first you must qualify. It's exactly what we set out to do earlier on for the Grand Touring cars, GTO and GTU. Now we go to the other half of the field, GP1, GP2, your general production cars, for their 30-minute qualifying session to set the grid, the back half of the grid, for the 9 o'clock race start. Tomorrow, cars are now on their outlap. 90 seconds gone off the clock. Get a checkered flag here right around 2:50. And then we will know exactly what the grid will look like when these cars take the green flag again. 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Receiving the green, first car will be the number 23, followed by the 83 from Palomar. We jump briefly on board. Oh, car in the gravel already. Is that the Bruce Innovations number 24 way down in the gravel at turn number 10? I think it is. I'll hop on board the HK Motorsports BMW down towards the end of the back straightaway. There's Blaze Racing there on your right. Target acquired way out there in the gravel. Doesn't look like they've hit anything, but that sure looks like a BMW 235, and we go straight back to a black flag all. Ooh, it's a 172 BMW from TLM USA on the back of a tow rope down on the pit lane. Maybe some dramas there. Off about mid-camera shot there. But this will bring the GP1 and GP2 classes down into the pit lane. So just as soon as the session started, it comes to a halt so we can go pull a car out of the gravel trap down there at the chicane. Had this a few times this year where I think we'll get a session started. GTO, GTU goes perfectly smoothly, and then we find a reason to interrupt this half-hour kind of rapid-fire qualifying. It was created a really compelling session back at Barber, our first opportunity, actually the first opportunity for this type of qualifying session. With a showdown for the GP1 pole that came right down to the checkered flag. Of course, it's the way it went in GTU earlier on today as well. So we'll take these sessions as they come. Should be a pretty quick recovery up there at the turn 10 chicane. Emergency vehicle's already on scene there to go pull that Bruce Innovations car out. Appreciate you all being with us this fine afternoon from Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. Hello to Erwin, who's in the YouTube chat. Honky Tonk Tennessee joins us as well. Orbiter 277. Good-looking grid this weekend. These GP1 and GP2 cars built almost entirely in team-owned garages and prep shops. Only a small handful are actually purpose-built, factory-built road racing cars, particularly some of the BMW M235 IRs, the M2 Club Sports, also eligible in GP1. The GR86 you see out there is actually not the GR86 Cup. Oh, it's not the 24, which has just emerged from the middle of the pit lane. So is that maybe the well, somebody down there at turn, we don't have the turn 10 camera up at the moment, but somebody down there I'm sure is screaming, no, it's the 333. Our race control log is not current as well at the moment. So flying a little bit blind, but anyway, we should know in just a moment which of the Bruce Innovation cars that is. JT, the question is, which Bruce Innovations car is in the gravel at turn 10? Our co-commentator for the weekend, JT Tammy, who's in the chat. Tending to other duties this weekend. it turns out. Jordan, were we able to get that that Palomar onboard camera working? Yeah, very good. All right. Good stuff. Good collection of onboard cameras in the production cars this weekend as well. You see the electronics unit there, center of the screen, blinking BF, or Black Flag, would you believe it? Can't help but notice the Palomar folks have left their clock down there in the bottom right on Pacific time. Very helpful. Thank you for that. The San Diego-based squad. Well, San Diego area. When you're this far away, it all kind of blends together. Oh, it also says Daytona. Very good. Okay. Within Pacific time. Yeah. We've got the guy here in the booth who can fix it. So it's fantastic. Should just be a couple of moments here more under black flag conditions. It does say green up in the upper left, but someone needs to holler upstairs, the timing guru, and get that sorted. Not able to set any representative lap times. Cars were on their first flyer when they came into or back around to the scene of the incident. We obviously went black flag, and that negated any working laps. Another car on the back of a tow rope into the pit lane. This was the Camburn Performance Ginetta G55, number 178, missing the hood, some front bumper, or some front body work, excuse me, and the rear bumper cover. Very interesting. Here comes the stricken BMW down the hill from the Fox Factory Bridge. Doing so very carefully so as to not spread gravel all over the highest commitment part of the racetrack, which we highly appreciate. It is the number 333, so we were right on team there for the Bruce Innovation Squad. Just wrong car number. That'll be the, I believe it's BMW M3. Green flag waves once again, so we will have lost about a third of this 30-minute qualifying session. 21 minutes left on the clock. We'll obviously have to complete the outlap here and begin flying laps once again. Now, the good news, if there is any, here is that, number one, there's plenty of time. Number two, production cars run on a single supplier Continental tire. Not necessarily a spec tire as such, but all general production competitors have to use the Continental. It's a very durable tire. It does last, will last a full 8-hour race with little concern there. It does tend to be a bit harder, so you wonder if maybe it'll take a little longer for it to come up to full operating temperature. Maybe in these 90-degree temperatures it doesn't matter so much, but a little bit less time to work with here. By the time we get to, I'm sure, the 8 to 10 minute mark here, I think we'll have most of these cars with the tires fully up to temp and ready to go. Unlike the GT qualifying session where it was pretty much flyers straight out of the gate, this one may take a handful of laps just to get up to speed. But anyway, on board the Choice Racing BMW down the back straightaway and doing exactly that, already up into, well, it said 6th gear. My assumption is that it was just a shift up into 5th there. Headed down into the braking zone here at turn 10. Pull back into 4th, 3rd. Yeah, that's more like it. Worth noting here, cars we don't see. Unfortunately, we had a few losses during the early practice sessions this morning. If you've looked at the entry list for the Lanier Endurance SuperPrix, you'll have seen the 567 from Big Mission Motorsports came all the way out from Colorado. That car was involved in a really heavy impact here right at the exit of turn number 12. about 11 o'clock this morning. Driver was okay, got out of the car under his own power, walked to his ride to the care center. But the car looked like it hooked without actually ever getting to the grass on the exit of 12 here. No ruts or anything. It just sort of went around fully on the throttle and went into the wall pretty much head on. Sent a lot of debris and grass all over the front straightaway. As we said, the driver was okay. Unfortunately, the BMW is not. I don't anticipate seeing that car again this weekend. And then in the session that followed that, just before lunchtime, down at turn number 1, it looks like we lost the 85 AOA Racing BMW. Now that's an interesting one because that's one of the few factory-built cars in GP1. It was the M2 Club Sport, number 85, that if you follow the tire tracks way down there at turn 1, actually looks like it lost it under braking and shot left, and got the wall just in front of the photographer's stand, and came to rest in the gravel trap in front of the tire barrier. See if we can pick it up here on board the HK Motorsports BMW as we start to get lap times in. We'll wait for the representative ones to come through. In fact, that's one of the first. But eyes on the road here. There they go off to driver's left. You see them across the pit exit lane for the support lane and then straight into the white concrete there on driver's left. Pretty solid whack into the barrier there. You see it. And it wasn't on the screen first thing this morning when we set up the cameras, but yeah, it looked like everybody was okay down there. We'll wait to see what the fate of that car is. Should, by rights, have been pretty competitive this weekend. But yeah, not partaking in qualifying this afternoon. Fastest lap in GP1 at the moment with 1 lap in the books. Bruce Innovations, number 555. It's a sister car to the 333 that was in the gravel a couple of moments ago. On the pole, provisional pole, alongside the Fifth Gear Motorsports number 550 Porsche. Really strong initial offering there from Fifth Gear. HK Motorsports number 221. This car we were just on board with a moment ago. Pulls to driver's right out of turn number 7 in that very striking BMW M3 GTR type of livery. Off in the distance there is your 4th place car. That's PC Racing out of turn 7. The number 44 white and pale blue. Actually gets bumped down to P5 now as Harrison Motorsports in the number 392. Jumps up into the top 5. Blitzkrieg Racing in the number 190 is your provisional GP2 pole sitter. Down in P6 in the overall running order at the moment. Rapscallion number 23. P6 in... Oh, no, I say that. Palomar 38 now jumps up into the top 6. 141.032 is the initial offering from the GP1 class entry of Palomar. The GP2 entry. We'll go to sort by class here. Now jumps into P2 as I look at the timing board. So top 6 at the moment for the GP1 car. Top 2 outside of the provisional front row for the GP2 car. I think that car is also your GP2 Eastern points leader at the moment. And we talked about that a little earlier on. It's a pretty compelling championship fight at the moment in GP2. Only got two races under our belt. Technically 3 races, but Daytona counts as 2 finishes for being a 14-hour single-day enduro. Ebre Racing, the number 16 P3, and then Puka Racing, the 48, are the provisional second row, and then a pair of open throttle racing BMWs 65, which is the, Mike Gorman calls it Captain America car with the flag down the left hand, or the sides of the car. There it is. Choice Racing darts up the inside. The 69, which is the retirement beige BMW with the Florida license plate. P6 at the moment. That's all down in GP2. We're riding on board with the Choice Racing number 522. P11 in GP1, at least for now. No reason this car can't be up into the top 2 or 3 before we get to the end of the session here, but it's been pretty complicated as far as getting through traffic goes for the primarily black with some white and blue trim BMW M3. This has been a really quick car over the years. Choice Racing spent some time up in GTO with an M4 GT4, part of the GT4 boom there in GTO over the last few years. Things have settled down a bit now, and using this really well-prepped M3, which at one time was a GTO car. And now G-tuned to run in GP1. P8 comes through and improves a 141.038. Provisional pole time is still that 138.265, an improvement on lap time from the 555 of Bruce Innovations. Like 8 or 9 seconds off of the GTU pole time that was set earlier on. Just as hot out there, I'm sure, if you're trackside, but a little extra cloud cover will take the edge off of that. Temperature is expected to rise tomorrow. I think we're headed for about 94. With about 45 or 50% humidity. It's going to feel a fair bit warmer than that. Off of turn 7, head up the back straightaway and crest the hill under the bridge. That off down towards turn 10 once again. 13 minutes on the clock, so we've cleared halfway through this GP1, GP2 qualifying session. HK Motorsports across the line once again. Does not improve lap time, 140.964, so about 9/10 off of that car's best. Wonder here if we've taken the best out of the tires, perhaps. No, PC Racing improves and actually now goes into P2. So displaces the 5th gear Motorsports number 550 with a 138.479. Again, less than 1/10 of a second between your second and third place cars. Just over 2/10 between first and second. Palomar Racing number 38 does improve, goes now to P4. It's a car you're on board with now headed through the S's. A 139.847. Just those 4 cars sub 140 at the moment on these single supplier Continental tires. Choice Racing to P7 now behind the HK number 221. AR Motorsports in the number 146, P8. Rapscallion number 23 is P9. And now ducks into the pit lane. Now that's an interesting entry. Rapscallion not with the NC. MX-5. That is a BMW. Is that an M2 Club Sport? I think it is. To be honest with you, I hadn't even recognized it. I did see the Stack Racing logo down the rear corner of the car, just above the rear wheel arches. It's interesting that GP1 and GP2, particularly in GP1, we'll talk about this more through the course of the weekend, but for a class that welcomed in these factory-built cars, particularly from BMW, the M2 Club Sport, the M230 and 235 and 240 IRs, haven't really taken the class by storm here. Still very, very much a builder's class, a car builder's class. Bruce Innovations 555, the PC Racing number 44. 5th gear in the Porsche Cayman number 550. They're into the pit lane now, so see if this is to come in and let things cool off, or we'll just swap drivers out, give somebody else a crack at qualifying. .808 is into the pit lane, off-leash Motorsports. It's another M2 Club Sport. More and more of those cars available secondhand now as well. They're big, heavy cars, and not the cheapest things in the world to operate, but with BMW having updated their M2 racing offering in the last year or so, ability to go get yourself an M2 Club Sport and come run proper endurance racing on a relative budget is certainly there, and having the extra 3-4 entries down in GP1 has provided a way for maybe teams that aren't so interested in going out and building a car from scratch to get something that can be competitive straight off the bat. Paddle shift, decent power, heavy, but on a Continental tire that everybody's got to run and will last the full 8 hours. It's actually a pretty compelling argument for a production racing solution. Palomar 38 heads back out on track. New pole sitter in GP1, PC Racing to the top, number 44, 138, 163. So kind of the opposite approach to what we've seen out of some of the other GP1 cars, where it was an initial flyer or two and then the time drops off. PC Racing gradually improves over the course of a couple of laps from the high 38s down to the mid 38s, and now a 138, 163, pretty much bang on a tenth of a second clear of that 555 from Bruce Innovations. AR Motorsports now up into P4 on the outside of the second row. Choice Racing into 5th. Palomar 38 slots back into the 6th spot ahead of Harrison Motorsports in the number 392. Watch out for them tomorrow, as potentially starting a little further back, but very, very much that V8 BMW always in contention for class wins and podiums. Blitzkrieg Racing number 190 is your GP2 provisional pole sitter at the moment into the pit lane. 779 from Lagunatic Racing, very much in that GP2 championship fight at the moment, alongside, actually just ahead now of the 83 from Palomar Racing. It's the primarily yellow and green BMW E36. Ebre Racing number 16 in P4, and the top 5 now rounded out by the Puka Racing number 48. JT Tammy will be with us on the microphones tomorrow. Says no Enola this weekend for some reason. That number 135. Yeah, interested to see what happened there. I think they were involved in an incident towards the end of the Daytona 14 hour, if memory serves, but it was a long day. And a lot happened there within the last 3.5 hours or so as the sun started to go down. The pace of the race picked up, the urgency went up, and unfortunately we saw a couple of incidents there right towards the end. Now down under 7 minutes remaining. More and more cars taking the opportunity to come into the pit lane. PC Racing is going to call it a session. The number 44 hangs the hard right-hand turn into the paddock. Bruce Innovations 555 going to give this another go. I think they are. Car is sent out of the lane. If we get another couple of flyers here from some of the teams a little further down in the top 10, and GP1 in particular. Choice Racing comes through and does improve now. 139.663 to go P5. Harrison Motorsports is still down in 7th place. It looks like they've, I think, come back out on track to give this another go. HK Motorsports is into the lane. That'll probably be a session for that BMW. 64 from Open Throttle crosses the line now. Any improvement? Nope, still P9. Rapscallion number 23, I think, has been sent as well. Blaze Racing number 118. 141.784 is 12th place in class, and one of the cars still out there circulating, as is the 336 from Big Mission. P16 at the moment for that team out of Colorado, likely down to just that one car this weekend. On board the Blitzkrieg number 424. Excellent looking car, by the way. Might be my vote for best looking car in the field this weekend. Really, really nice livery on that car. Unfortunately, it is stone last in the GP1 running order, having not set a representative time. Maybe working through some issues at the moment, but 0 laps on the board in 4 minutes and 15 seconds left on the clock here. Gonna have to hustle around to get maybe two, yeah, probably two flyers in before the checkered flag flies. Choice Racing improved again, 139.503. Still about 1.3, 1.4 seconds off the back of the class pole, sitting number 44. Off leash improves in the number 808. 139.519. Man, these GP1 times are close. Harrison calls it a day. Pulls the V8 powered BMW into the pit lane, number 392. Eyes out the right-hand side of the booth up here at the Michelin Tower. Through comes the Blitzkrieg number 424, begins, believe it or not, what is its first flying lap? There it is, orange BMW just arcing into turn number 1. Heads up the hill with 3 minutes on the clock, so probably this lap and one more. The lap time around 1:40 before it comes back to the checkered flag. 146 comes through. AR Motorsports, still P4 and GP1, does not improve. Bruce Innovations out there circulating as well. Another quick time, 138.280, just 15 thousandths of a second off of that car's best time of the session. So it doesn't improve time or position, but it's still circulating just as rapidly as it did when it set that time on its 4th lap of this half-hour qualifying session. Blitzkrieg now begins the long run up the back straightaway, out of turn number 7 and up through the gears. See if it can get through the turn 10 complex here without getting held up by the traffic in front. A little bit of a tow headed down the hill here from what I think is Captain America number 65 Open Throttle Racing BMW. Closes in the braking zone, so it looks to be a pretty good lap here for the 424. Maybe just held up at the apex of 10 a bit, slides at the apex of 10A, and heads up the hill underneath the Fox Factory Bridge. Now, unfortunately, this is going to hold them up as they complete their first lap and probably as they start their second. 65 just wiggles wide on the exit of turn number 12. 424 slides up the inside, sets a time on its first flyer of a 139.268. So into the top 5. Backs out of it, headed into turn number 1. So 1 lap and 1 lap only for Blitzkrieg Racing. About 1.1 seconds off of the pole. Now, it's tough to tell how much they were held up down there at turn number 10, but it was a really good run into the braking zone. Lap could have been maybe a couple of tenths even quicker. Really interesting top 10 here as we clear the final 30 seconds of qualifying on this fine Friday afternoon. Palomar 38 crosses the line, no improvement, 142.771. HK Motorsports, the 221's been into and out of the pit lane before they decide to go back and try this again. This will be, I think they'll get one more here if they want it. 10 seconds left on the clock and they're headed down the hill. Our timer is unofficial, but no checkered flag waves yet. Yep, one more. They'll be the last car to start a new flying lap, 140.276. So they've got about, well, they're only about a tenth off of their fastest time. So if they can find just a little bit extra, maybe haul themselves off the back of the top 10 at the moment. As the checkered flag waves over the number 24 Bruce Innovations BMW 235. That is not a racing car, by the way. That's a road-going 235. It's been developed by Montgomery Motorsports into a GP1 class car. A lot of development work put into that car, and now in the hands of Bruce Innovations. Primarily a rental-driven vehicle. Palomar crosses the line one more time, number 38. No improvement there, stays P8. So really, I think HK is going to be the last one that we look for an improvement for here. Off of turn number 7, it's a good launch up over the exit curb just enough to get the foot to the floor and square up for that run up the hill towards the bridge at turn 8. Stays to driver's left, run into turn 9, 120 miles an hour through what isn't much of a corner in a car, but in a bike is absolutely terrifying. 130 before they stab the brakes down into turn number 10. It's a clean run all the way to the flag. Could take a little more curb there on the left, right up against the track limits line there on driver's right. No curb needed on the exit underneath the Fox Factory Bridge. All-Star Racing is ahead of them. They'll finish their final lap. Let's see. Oh, and they go P1. All-Star Racing has stolen the pole at the last second in GP1. So just like we saw in GTU with the Stratus Racing teammates, drama at the very, very end. And it's the only car into the 137s in GP1. It looked quiet. Thought virtually nothing of it coming to the flag as we were so focused on the onboard from HK Motorsports. But just in passing, happened to catch that number 5, featuring, by the way, former NASCAR driver Steve Park, amongst others this weekend, straight to the top in GP1, underneath the checkered flag at the Motul start and finish stand. 137.771 to be about 3.5 tenths clear of the PC Racing number 44, which just up until about a minute ago looked to all the world to have the pole secured in GP1 for tomorrow's Lanier Endurance SuperPrix 8 hours. Bruce Innovations number 555 will end the session P3 and will start alongside the number 550 from Fifth Gear Motorsports, the top Porsche, only Porsche as a matter of fact, in GP1. On the outside of the second row, Blitzkrieg Racing in the number 424 with only that one flying lap goes P5. AR Motorsports to start alongside in the number 146 there on the third row. Choice Racing number 522. And the Off-Leash Motorsports 808 M2 Club Sport in P8. The top 10 rounded out by Palomar Racing number 38 and HK Motorsports number 221. Harrison Motorsports 392, P11, P12 will be the 64 Open Throttle Racing BMW. Rapscallions number 23 BMW M2, P13 alongside the Blaze Racing number 118 in P14. That car we know is a little bit lighter weight, does lack some of the power down these long straightaways. But anyway, to start P14 tomorrow, top 15 rounded out by Bruce Innovations, the number 333. Did get out and put 11 laps in after starting the session down in the turn 10 gravel trap. Bruce Innovations 24, Big Mission Motorsports number 336, and the Open Throttle Racing 63. That's the charcoal-collared BMW to start there in P18. Shotgun on the GP1 field. Your GP2 pole setter is the 222 from Rebel Racing. Set a time just a couple of minutes there before the end. 1:45.831 to start on the pole in GP2. Lagunatic Racing 779 on the outside of the front row there. Puka Racing number 48 and Open Throttle Racing number 65 in on the second row. Yebre Racing the number 16 and the Open Throttle number 69 on row number 3. Row number 4 consists of the Palomar Racing number 83. That's your championship leader alongside the 521 from RWF Motorsports, 150.2 for that 521. And then row number 5, tail end there of GP2 field, is the 851 from AOA Racing and the Blitzkrieg Racing number 190. That will do it for our bonus coverage here on this Friday afternoon from Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. Join us tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Time, for 8 hours of racing action, the first 8 hours of racing from the Lanier Endurance SuperPrix. I'll be there, Brendan Kazmarek, to be joined by Ryan West and JT Tammy, and bring you through round number 6 of the 2025 World Racing League National Championship season, round number 3 of the Eastern Regional Championship season as well. Jordan Worth will be on production all weekend. Layla Kazmarek on the @, World Racing League, DriversEye Live over on Instagram. Give us a like and a follow. And I'll have some footage from the drivers' meeting to come this afternoon here so we can set the stage for tomorrow's 8 hours of racing, Sunday's 7 hours of racing. From Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. Join us tomorrow at 9, and we'll guide you right the way through what should be a fantastic day of racing at a fantastic venue. Until then, I'm Brendan Kazmarek. Take care.